Why did a group of mining heavy hitters join West Red Lake Gold Mine? Shane Williams is president and CEO. Shane, welcome to Kitco.
Great to be on, Mike.
Shane, I'd like to talk about the history of the project in a minute, but maybe first you can talk about the potential of West Red Lake Gold Mines. What type of operation are you envisioning, and what's the production going to be?
Yeah, a little bit of context, Mike, to the story, really. Obviously, Frank is our major shareholder, and Frank and ourselves got together about a year ago. And Frank's a big gold macro bull and sees the setup over the next number of years. And so, obviously, we looked at something that was near-term production, get into production very quickly, and ride that gold run as is happening at the moment. So, so the project came on. It has about a production target of around 80 to 100,000 ounces a year, and it's near-term production. We're hoping to be in production around 2025, end of 25. So those sort of metrics, and given the price we got the project for, really create that opportunity to get near-term production and build upon that. So that's kind of what interests everybody on the story, really.
Let's talk about the history. The West Red Lake Gold Mines, that comes from Pure Gold, which ran at a creditor difficulty. What was the story there, and what are you going to be doing differently?
Yeah, the history is a little bit, at a time, as some of your viewers will remember, Pure Gold was a darling of the stock market here in Canada in particular. It ran very high. It was a big story. It had a lot of high-grade ounces. Unfortunately, look, a couple of things hit them with it. They took on a lot of debt. It was a big debt problem. They took on a large amount of debt, which had some strong covenants around it. We also believe that they were setting the company up for a sale, a long-term sale. There was a lot of M&A going on around Red Lake in particular. If you remember, Evolution was buying the Goldcorp assets. Great Bear was going well. So there was a lot of that M&A strategy. So we believe they were setting the project up for sort of an M&A transaction, which they didn't really focus on from an operational point of view or to build a gold mining company. So, hence we brought in a team, obviously with the backing of Frank and more project builders, project developers, and helping to set the company up for more of a long-term growth story. They also had COVID. Unfortunately, COVID hit them in the middle of all that ramp up. And so that had its own effects on all gold mining companies, not just developers. But it's particularly difficult as you're doing a development ramp-up story with people, spare parts, equipment. So a lot of those headwinds hit them at the wrong time as they were ramping up, really.
Now, you mentioned before, you do have mine builders on this team right now. So you mentioned Frank, of course, a business and mining legend in the space with a significant portion. I believe he has 15% of the company. But I also see Tony McCooch on your board of directors, as well as Duncan Middlemas and yourself.
Yeah, so really, Frank is just over an 11% shareholder. So really, the plan was to build a next major gold mining company in Canada. Look, the long-term vision is to build upon what we have got and build into a company builder, basically, a large gold mining company. And so we set the company up that way, obviously the backing with Frank, building a board. A lot of these junior companies start out and they have a board and the board have to scale up. But we wanted to come in strong to show the technical capabilities of the team, the leadership and the mentorship with a board. So hence we brought on Tony, who a lot of the viewers will know has been very successful with Kirkland Lake, Duncan obviously with Westone. I think that gives a lot of credibility to the new story, the revised story as we go forward. And myself, I'm a project developer, project builder, worked with Eldorado Gold, Skeena Resources. So a history of building projects with a technical focus. So that was kind of the new story in a sense. We really want to reset. We're here to build a company, build a project, and build a large company as we go forward over the next number of years.
Step back and talk about the Red Lake region itself, Shane. It's a significant jurisdiction for mining in Canada, and also you have a lot of mines around you.
Yeah, look, one of the reasons we also picked Red Lake areas, in Canada now, a lot of places have become flavor of the month. The Golden Triangle, as an example, in BC, a lot of developers there, a lot of areas. Some companies are in the Yukon now. Yukon is very popular. We always felt that Red Lake has been overlooked a little bit. You know, it has a historical over 40 million ounces of high-grade gold has been produced in Red Lake over the history. So it's a very famous Canadian gold mining story. And, you know, there's not a lot of developers around there. There was not. Great Bear had a great run in that region, as some of your viewers will know. Obviously, they've been bought by Kinross. The original Goldcorp mines are there from our own now by Evolution. So there's no really developer in that region. So if people want to play an up-and-coming growing story, there was nobody there. Great Bear had a great run. And so we're hoping to be the next story. So that's why we try to pick Red Lake. Good area, good potential for high-grade gold. But also, if you're growing and developing that area, you get investors back interested in the Red Lake region. That's part of the story.
I don't have to talk about these markets with you, Shane. I know that you've been paying attention. We've had the run-up in gold prices, several all-time highs. It just looks, we're having this conversation on April 4th. We see about 16% rise in the senior gold miners as per the GDX over the last per month. You know, and we're starting to see that trickle down to the juniors as well, too. But maybe just talk about, we had a conversation yesterday with Peter Grosskopf, and he speculated that gold miners may have been held back by concerns about costs. You are developing a mine right now. Are costs an issue with getting a mine out?
Yeah, today, as you probably know, and Peter probably knows it because he's in the financing of it, a lot of issues with costs over the last number of years, inflation, and the challenges associated with that, getting people, getting spare parts, getting access. That's pretty much why we targeted a kind of a near-term production story. You know, where most of the infrastructure is already in place in our project. It was in commercial production. All the major Capex has been done. There's been $350 million spent on this project. So again, we targeted this so that a lot of those headwinds that miners are facing, we're kind of over that hump in a sense. We've kind of done, the Pure Gold team have done the heavy lifting, have built the infrastructure and put the permits in place. So if you look at permitting risk associated with mining or a cost inflation risk, both of those risks, we've kind of ticked the boxes. So we're very strategic in picking an asset that was in near-term production and had most of the Capex. So as we go forward, we have very little Capex to spend to get this back into production. That's kind of one of the reasons we targeted this area.
We're talking, what about human talent? Is something that we've seen that's been coming up more and more in the industry as well. So Mark Bristow at Barrick, as well as Jorge Gonzalez at Fortuna Silver Mines, highlighted that some of this cost inflation just comes from the fact that, you know, skilled mining people, they're rare and they're hard to find.
Yeah, look, the industry has suffered a little bit of that over the last number of years in reality. And it's the cyclical nature of the business. You know, 10 years ago, it was booming. Then it went down a little bit. You know, people get into the industry, get back out. It's hard to get young people in the industry. And particularly to build a mine today, like it takes somewhere between 10 years nearly to get a good mine into production. And build a company takes even longer. And having a supply of people is a challenge. And, you know, again, the correct way is to have, we built our team around young executives who are all there for the long term to build a company. And if you can mirror that with senior executives, with likes of Tony, Duncan, you know, you get a good blend of the old experienced with the young, enthusiastic engineers, people. And that's a good blend we find of to build a company, because it's hard work now, you know, to find the people with the right skills who've built mines, operated mines. It's a tough one for sure. Yeah.
I had a question stepping back, but I just want to talk about innovation that you're seeing in milling and seeing within operations, just given your breadth of experience. We hear a lot about mines. They're doing things regarding automation. They're doing things with electrification. They're doing something with renewables. When you're tracking these things and as you're developing these Capex projects out, are you seeing anything that's meaningful in this space right now, Shane?
Yeah, we are seeing a lot of issues, particularly on the technology of the service providers, like the companies who supply drilling equipment and the machines themselves. They're getting a lot more automated. So that's really been a game changer for the industry. Also because of lack of people, you know, the more and more automation is coming into the role of the jobs itself. You're also getting electrification. There's a lot of big mines in Canada who are actually very electrified underground using the equipment. And it's more of a necessity, back to your other point on lack of people and lack of young people in the industry. You know, the industry needs to innovate to bring those in so that it can continue. You know, there's a lot of baby boomers, as we say, will retire over the next 10 or 15 years. And they're the heart and soul of the mining industry for the last 20 years. And so we need to be replacing those people. And technology is definitely a way of doing that, definitely a way and a big part of that as we go forward.
Lastly, back to Madsen Gold Mine. What are going to be the milestones over the next 12 months, Shane?
Yeah, look, we have some really exciting milestones coming up. We've just done a financing there, quite a non-dilutive financing, which provides us a good bit of money in our treasury. We are adding more drills underground at the moment. We are starting to drill some really exciting areas of the ore body that never really were drilled prior to this. So we're getting underground and doing that. We're also kicking off a pre-feasibility study that we're doing and planning to relaunch and restart back in the middle of to the end of 25. So really exciting growth story as we're moving forward. And if we're doing that in that setup as in gold prices rising, it could be a very exciting story, West next year.
Shane, thanks for talking with Kitco.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
My name is Michael McRae. You're watching Kitco Mining.